Doctor? 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 Doctor?
Doctor?
Doctor?
Doctor?
You're listening to Sports Medicine Weekly with Steve Cashel and Dr. Brian Cole on ESPN 1000.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Cashel, radio host of the Chicago Bulls. Welcome to Sports Medicine Weekly here on ESPN 1000. Sports Medicine Weekly being presented in part by AlignMed. I'll soon be joined by my co-host, Dr. Brian Cole, the head team physician for the Chicago Bulls, co-head team physician of the Chicago White Sox, and sports medicine specialist from Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Back to get it going right after this on ESPN Radio. Back here on Sports Medicine Weekly on this Saturday morning, Steve Cashel and Dr. Brian Cole. Dr. Cole, of course, long time now, head team physician with the Chicago Bulls. How many years?
I think it's 11, but could be 12. I think it's 11, but it's been great, and we're excited to get started. All the physicals are coming in, and we'll start camp first part of October.
But let me talk a little bit sports medicine-wise, Dr. Cole, the importance of the relationship between you, the head team doctor, and the head trainer for the team.
Yeah, it's all about that. I can tell you that that's a make or break situation, and I've been blessed with having we had Fred Tedeschi ever since I started, and then now Jeff Tanaka with the Bulls. Both of them have been excellent, and I've experienced a lot of trainers from the Giants, New York Giants, the Mets. I was at the University of Pittsburgh for a year, and worked with some of the best trainers in the world. And it's all about that relationship, because if you don't understand your role and you don't work well together, it's not a good experience. I mean, it has to be sort of promote that camaraderie and the ability to work together and take care of the players and the organization. If it's not there, it's a deal breaker for sure.
Let me bring up a giant in the business, the NBA's longest tenured trainer from the Los Angeles Lakers. Gary Vitti is with us here this morning on Sports Medicine Weekly. 12 trips to the NBA Finals, 8 NBA championships, and this season will be his 32nd with the team. Do you feel that old, Gary?
Sure do.
Do you? That's why you're getting out?
Every year of it. I love working in the NBA, but I think people really don't understand the grind that it is. We work 7 days a week during the season, and even some of the weeks in the off season around the draft, we're working 7 days a week, and then we just drop down to 5 days a week in the off season. But pretty much the door is always open. The phone's on 24 hours a day. It's more of a lifestyle than a job, but I do feel the 31 years pass for sure.
So are you planning on retiring?
I am. I'm easing out. I went to the team the end of this season, and I said, how about a 3-year deal? I'll do 1 on the bench and on the road, and then 2 more as something else. Specifically, the title is Athletic Trainer in Residence / Special Consultant to the General Manager. I'll need a gigantic business card to fit all that on there.
You've earned it, my friend. You've totally earned it. When you reflect back, what do you think the most difficult part in the last 31 years has been? Has it been the travel? Has it been the family challenge? I mean, I look. Being a trainer is. I honestly, I work hard. I work lots of hours, but it's a kind of a balance, and I don't have to travel like you do in the sleep and everything else. I mean, if I had to guess, it would be the travel and the impact on family and everything else. Is there, what resonates as being some of the biggest challenge for you?
Hands down, it's the travel. I'm often asked, what's the best and worst thing, in an NBA life, and the worst is absolutely number one, hands down, the travel. The best part of the job is, believe it or not the winning, not the games, not the championships, but the camaraderie and the relationships that you develop along the way, and all the different levels of those relationships, because as the athletic trainer, you're sort of the center, and all those cogs of the wheel. You connect the coaches with the players. You connect management with coaches, management with players, because we're what I call downstairs. Okay, all of our offices, the coaches and ownership and management, they're all on the second floor. But the game is practiced on the first floor of the building. That's where the court is, the locker room, the players' lounge, and specifically the training room and the weight room. And that's where we live. We live with the players. And we sort of connect all the other entities with the players and the players along with the other entities. And being the head athletic trainer is a very special relationship. It's different. Your relationship with the head coach is different than with the assistant coach or the assistant trainer with the head coach. And the same thing as the head guy with the players, and the same thing as the head guy with the GM and the team physicians. You know, it's as different. And unless you've been in one side of that relationship, you know, either the team physician, as Dr. Cole is with his head athletic trainer, then you'll never understand it. You have to be one of those two people to understand that special relationship.
Visiting with Gary Vitti, the head athletic trainer for the Los Angeles Lakers, about to begin his 32nd season with the Lakers in the NBA. Absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit, Gary, if you will, about new technology, what you've learned over your years. And I know you've kind of specialized in bringing your players into postural fitness. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, maybe let's start one step behind the posture distortion patterns, and we'll just give the listeners a view of what actually takes place in a game.
Sure.
We have an eye in the sky in every arena now that recognizes every single player that is put into a basketball game. And with that eye in the sky, we know the number and location of that player's accelerations and decelerations throughout the game. And we also know the trajectory of those accelerations. Did he accelerate or decelerate to the right, to the left, front, back? We also know the speed at which he traveled throughout the game, and from that they can, through an algorithm, get the average speed that they traveled and the exact measurement of the distance traveled. So what we do with that information is then we take the average speed that the athlete traveled, we multiply it by his body weight. We then multiply that number by the distance that he ran, and that gives us a specific number that in and of itself is important to us, and we call that load. What was the load on that individual? Then we take the load, that number, and we divide it by minutes, and that gives us another number that we refer to as intensity. So theoretically, what we're looking for is a direct linear relationship between load and intensity. As load goes up, we want intensity to go up with it. And if that's happening, then we feel like we're in a green zone and we can keep pushing a player. If the load's going up and the intensity's leveling off, then we'll put that player in what we call a yellow zone, and now he has our attention, and we may start to adjust the player's minutes or change some of his training habits. Then, of course, if his load's going up and the intensity is spiraling down, then we're in a red zone, and we feel like he is really in a position to injure himself. And what we find is when they get into that position, it's usually a postural distortion pattern. And so what we're always trying to do is get their pelvis into neutral. The game has changed so much. It is so fast and so powerful now that we're seeing players that are so tight in their hip flexors that it's reducing the neural drive to their glute. So their glute shuts down, their hamstring takes over, and now their body's completely out of whack and they're susceptible to injury. So the idea is, how do we get them back into pelvic neutral? And we sort of have some technologies that we're marrying together to get there. The first is, we know through Yonda's work that in order to get a person back into pelvic neutral, we want to release their hip flexors. So we do a lot of myofascial release. Now, you can do that with a foam roller. You can do it manually. There's another device out there that's called the Raptor, and it's a percussion instrument. There's a lot of technology coming out now about percussion therapy. It started with the Swedish astronauts quite a while ago when they were trying to reduce atrophy in space and seeing how vibration and percussion could keep muscle tone. We're finding that we can use that as a myofascial release technique. Once we release them, then we can stretch them, then we can activate their glute. That would be for what we would call a lower cross syndrome, something that's around the pelvis. But we also look at postural distortion patterns higher up, okay? And we're looking at a postural correction shirt that's made by AlignMed. And it has neural bands built into the shirt that when you put the shirt on, it actually pulls you into your correct posture. And why that's so meaningful is we know that if you do the same movement over and over and over again, you're going to develop a compensation, and the compensation is going to develop an issue. Okay, so even if it's not swinging a golf club 100 times or shooting a basketball 500 times or swinging a bat, if you're simply sitting in front of your computer all day, you're doing the same motion over and over again, and you're going to create a postural distortion pattern. So, if you don't have somebody like me around all the time to release you, stretch you, and activate you to get you into correct posture, then maybe what you do is you get somebody in a garment that pulls them into the correct posture.
Gary, let me ask you a question. Is the garment you're referring to the shirt mode, or the one that we prescribe for our I prescribe for my patients who often have scapular issues and so forth, which has the built-in straps and sort of that's really a medical device. Are you guys making more use of the postural shirt, for lack of a better description?
We are, especially. I mean, this can be worn all day long, but we use it especially for training. So going back to these distortion patterns, you go into them once you fatigue. So if you continue to work out, like, sort of the old school thinking is you have to push through the wall, when you're really tired, that's when you have to push harder. We're starting to realize that that's really not true, because as you fatigue, you go into this postural distortion pattern, and then you train yourself into that pattern. So you're actually training in the default pattern. That's the pattern we're trying to get you out of, but you're becoming stronger in it, which makes it more difficult to get you out of it. So if we can put you in a postural garment that gets you into the correct posture, and then we train you in that posture, then hopefully it'll take longer for you to fatigue and go into your default position. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Gary, thanks so much. Keep Kobe healthy. He's fun to watch, and we'll see you in L.A. This season.
I look forward to it, and thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Gary Vitti, head trainer for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm Steve Cashel with Dr. Brian Cole. More of Sports Medicine Weekly after this.
On ESPN Radio.
Correct alignment and good posture are keys to health and performance. AlignMed, a science and clinical test-based company, addresses this fundamental wellness need through its revolutionary line of products. Wearing AlignMed will dynamically train muscles and joints, strengthen and improve posture, performance, and prevent injury. Elite professional athletes, leading doctors, physical therapists, active adults, and everyday workers already enjoy the benefits. And all you have to do to feel and look better is wear AlignMed. That's why we say AlignMed. Get into it.